Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Malayam Karunaalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vakpranaschakshushrotramatho balamindriyani cha sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam me astu Tadatmani Nirateya Upanishatsu Dharmaste Mayi Santu Te Mayi Santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Karana Karya Prakriya. This methodology, from which it is understood that the effect is non-separate from the cause, but the cause transcends, we can use the word here, the effect. The effect is tied to the cause, but the cause is independent of the effect. This is what the Karya Karana Prakriya tells us, exemplified by what? Pot clay example. A stock example in Vedanta Shastra, pot clay, to show this Karya Karana Prakriya. Another thing that is important to know about this cause-effect methodology, effect-cause methodology, however you want to say it, is that the causality is only in relation to the effect. Let us see this in more detail. Like the clay becomes cause, or attains the status of being a cause only in relation to pot or jug, karaka, sharava, and all these other clay items made of clay. In relation to them, it is called cause. It is called karana for what? For the earthenware world. By itself, what is it? It is free of cause. It's clay. Simply, it is clay. This we have to see. Because then it becomes easy to understand a very important fact. And what is that? That this causality comes and goes. Yeah. The causality is not intrinsic to that which functions as a cause. Causality comes and goes. Causality is not intrinsic to clay and any other item here mentioned. Gold and ornament example will come next, or iron and nail cutter example. In all these examples, the causality comes and goes. The causality is not intrinsic to that particular item that is mentioned here. And this is important to understand because this is a very brilliant, examples on part of the Shruti here to show us many, many different things. And the effect is also what? The effect is the pot. Pot is the effect, and the status of being the effect is in relation to what? Cause. By itself, it is as good as non-existent. In relation to cause, it has the status of effect. So, from the standpoint of pot, clay is intrinsic to the pot, is it not? Yes? From the standpoint of clay, pot is an incidental expression of the clay. This we have to see. When we see these things become the darshtanta, that which is exemplified becomes very, very clear. So too, what is the darshtanta? What is the pot sthaniya? What is occupying the place of the pot? Jagat. Jagat is the pot here. And then what is the cause? It's going to be told Sat is the cause. Sat becomes the cause, gains causality, so to speak, only in relation to the Jagat. When there is no Jagat, there is no cause. So what kind of a cause is this? As though cause. That which is inherently free of being cause, on which the causality is as it were imbued, superimposed, as though superimposed. That is what we are talking about. And so, then we go to the next example. Let me also open the Bhashya here. One second. So, the next example, Yatha Somya Ekena Lohamanina Sarvam Lohamayam Vijñātam Syat Vācārambhanam Vikaro Namadheyam Lohamiti Eva Satyam. Same thing. Many of the words are the same. Mritpinda is substituted by what? Lohamani. Mritpindena. And then that is Lohamanina. That's all. Everything else is the same. Loha, even though in vernacular language we say what? Iron, here it's not iron. It is metal, but here the metal stands for gold. Lohamani means a big, not a lump, but a bead from a big gold bead. And nowadays what? Gold biscuit, gold bars, so many things are there. So from that, Ekena Lohamanina, from one particular golden bead made of gold, many things come. And in the Bhashya, Adi Shankara is going to say, Mukuta Kataka Keyuradi. He's such a poet. Mukuta Kataka already rhymed there, alliteration is there, Keyuradi. So, Keyura, Kataka, Mukuta. These are all things which come from gold. What is Keyura? This arm bracelet, arm band, bracelet, band, whatever we call it. We don't have a concept of it in English, but this is worn, this was very much worn in ancient India by royalty and the like. So the arm band made of gold, this bracelet for the upper arm, Keyura. Kataka means what? Bangle. Kataka, bangle. Mukuta, everybody knows. What is mukuta? Any kind of crown or head ornament. Mukuta. So all this comes from what? One gold. Everything comes from one gold. And then again, what is the status of Mukuta, Kataka, Keyuradi? What is their status? Vak alambanam, Vak arambhanam. That's all it is. They are also words, just like Karaka, Ghata, Sharavadi. So just like those earthenware names in the clay world, in the earthenware world, each item is distinguished from the other. How? Due to name, and due to that name alone, there is a distinction. Here also in the world of gold, we have what? Various distinctions. Various distinctions, and so therefore we have various names, various iterations of that same gold are there. So various names for that are there. And where did the names come from? The name came from you. Who is this you? The conscious being. Naming is an act of power. That is what the colonizers used in colonizing any country. First, what do? You change the names of everything. You change the name of all the towns. And then Mumbai becomes what? Bombay. It's not that they cannot say Mumbai. They just don't want to. Okay? So it becomes what? Bombay. Many things. All the street names are changed. And then finally what is left? People. People's names are also changed. After proselytizing, people's names are also changed. And so like this, naming is an act of power. And so here, who is the one giving all these names? You, the conscious being. The most powerful one. Most powerful also we cannot say, because most powerful assumes that other things occupy places of power belonging to the same order of reality. Here there is nothing other than you that is the same order of reality, because no one else has the naming power. No one else in the whole universe has the naming power. You alone, the conscious being, the Atma, has the naming power. Therefore, everything dances all names. Nama matram, nama dheyam, swarthe dheya pratyaya. We saw the suffix dheya means itself alone, name alone. That's what is dheya. So nama matram eva, everything is just nama, nama, nama alone. You can also add rupa, no problem. It's a package deal. It's all word and meaning. You think about anything. Whatever you're sitting on, what is that called? What is that name of that thing on the floor? Back jack. Okay? Who thought this up? You. Yeah, yes, no, I didn't think. Okay, some other conscious being just like you. The conscious being only has to think it up. That which jacks up the back so that it doesn't fall off. Back jack. And then, so like this, there are names. The back jack, whatever is meant by the word back jack, that didn't say, I want to be called back jack. Did it say that? No. Or what a stupid name you have for me, I want to be called something else. I want a nice Sanskritam name. I am in a Gurukulam. I should be called by a Sanskrit name. What is this back jack? Did it say that? No. We named it. We means what? The conscious being. Because the I in you is the I in me, the I in he, the I in she, the I in it. Everything is one I. So this conscious being named it. It's an act of ultimate power, because there is nothing else more powerful than a self-effulgent conscious being. You, therefore, are unlike anything else in the universe. Because everything needs to be named, you are the namer. That is how the whole thing is. So even in the world of gold, what is there? This Keyura, name, word and meaning. Back jack, word and meaning. Cushion, word and meaning. Chair, word and meaning. Table, word and meaning. Wall, word and meaning. Floor, word and meaning. The whole Jagat, word and meaning, word and meaning, word and meaning, word and meaning. Endless series of words and meanings constitute this Jagat. And Bhagavan is the choreographer of the words and their meanings and makes the words and meanings dance. That's all it is. Everything is just word and meaning. And so here we live in a Jagat. If we don't know Vedanta, we live in a Jagat without being conscious of the substantive. It's like living in the world of ornaments without being aware of gold. It's like Ramana Maharshi says in a different context, having a gaggle, what is that called? A group, a conference of mathematicians, having a mathematics conference without the number one. Yes. Hasyana kim syat gatabhavi charcha vinaika samkhyam ganana iva loke. So people started to count in this world. In this mathematics conference, they started to count, but they forgot about the number one. How to count without number one? Not possible. Not possible at all. Bhutam bhavishyam bhavat svakale. So, similarly, people who are obsessed with the past and the future, Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan says in another context, Tad vartamanam vihaya. Forsaking the present, if you count the past and the future without the reference point of the present, then what kind of accounting is this? What kind of a reckoning is this? So, we cannot do this. We cannot look at words and meanings without looking at the same time. Without looking means being aware of what? The substantive. But our language also has succumbed to the ajnanam, to our ajnanam, because everything is topsy-turvy. We say, what do we say? Clay pot. The words clay and the word pot, are they synonyms? Say no so we can move on. But think about it, are they synonyms? No. They are not synonyms. Because pot has its own meaning, clay has its own meaning. They are not synonyms. And they don't mean the same thing at all. And so clay and then pot, they have an interesting relationship. They are not synonyms. But yet they are not two separate things. And then we saw they have a interesting relationship to one another. Yatra yatra clay, we saw that. Yatra yatra pot, tatra tatra clay. But we can't say it the other way round. So without knowing Vedanta, if we live in the world, it is like starting to count without the number one, and it is like talking about the past and the future without the reference point of the present. This is a very, this is the travesty. But alas, our language has also succumbed to our ajnanam. Therefore we say clay pot. In this expression, clay pot, what is the substantive and what is the adjective, grammatically speaking? Pot is the substantive. Clay is the adjective. A pot made of clay. But what is the reality? Pot is adjectival to clay, as it were. Pot is substantive. And same thing in the gold example. Keyura, Kataka, Mukuta, etc. So, what is chain? Golden chain. Where is the adjective, grammatically speaking? Golden. But what do we know? We know better, okay? Yeah. We can say, we are from the Gurukulam, we know better. What do we know? What is the real substantive here? Gold is the substantive. Chain is the adjective. Pujya Swamiji always used to say, it is not golden chain, it is chainy gold, ringy gold. Ringy gold, bangly gold. That we should not say, yeah. What is not to be said is very important. Notice that all the examples are from gold and ornament, not from the first one, because it looks bad to say what was just enunciated. So, we say, so really, but if we start talking like this outside of this campus, what are you wearing? Chainy gold, ringy gold, bangly gold. People will just back off. While maintaining eye contact, they will slowly back off from you. Okay. You have just come out of AVG, all right. So, it's all upside down. The writing of this vision is the purport of this chapter. Because we are all succumbing to seeing the substantive by some quirk of ajnanam. We see the substantive as the adjective. So therefore, when later it is going to be said that the Jagat is nothing but Sat, Sat is not adjectival to the Jagat. Sat is the substantive, Sat is the only source of existence, and what is Jagat? Adjectival to Sat. That is, this is what we are prepping for. And so, ekena lohamanina means, he says something, lohamanina, I'm looking at the bhashya now, then he says, suvarna pindena. So, lohamanina, the meaning is what? A lump of clay. Sarvam anyat vikara jatam. Vikara jatam doesn't mean born of vikara, okay? Vikara jatam means a host of vikara. Whole thing, the world of vikara, the host of vikara, kataka, mukuta, keyuradi, vijñatam syat. Vacharambhanam vikaro ityadi samanam. The rest of it was already previously explained. Then, as though that is not enough, one more example is given. Yatha somya ekena nakha nikrintanena sarvam karshnayasam vijñatam syat vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam karshnayasam ityeva satyam evam somya sa adesho bhavati iti. Yeah. So, the third example is that of steel, which was what? Iron. Krishnayasa is what? Black. Ayas means iron. Krishna, black. Krishnayasa, black iron. Karshnayasa, tadhita formation. Krishnayasa, tatra bhavam. or tasya idam is better here. Krishnayasa, Krishnayasaha idam karshnayasam. So there is that adi vriddhi, and so you make a noun out of another noun. So what is the first noun? Black iron, Krishnayasam. And then that which comes out of black iron is called Karshnayasam. So look how many words in English. That which comes out of black iron. 7 words. Tadhita means what? 1 word. Karshnayasa. Simple. 1 word. That is why it is called Tadhita. Tasya hitam. Tadhitam. It is beneficial. Hita means beneficial. Beneficial for whom? Beneficial not for the student of grammar, because nearly half of the Paninian Sutras are dealing with Tadhita. A good portion of them. Beneficial for whom? Vayakaranasya hitam. Beneficial for the grammarian, so that instead of using 7 words, only 1 word can be used. Sanskrit is a very compact language. So here you see the very interesting difference. There is a growth in the example. Before the Karana was taken, what was that? The Mritpinda and Lohamani. Both of them are what? Cause or effect? Cause. Yeah, this is a no-brainer. Don't think, say it. Yeah. You know it, say it. And if you are wrong, it's okay. The most I will say is, please see me after class. That's all I say. So, you can just say it. So, Lohamani and Mritpinda are cause or effect? Cause. But here in the third example, effect is taken. Ekena, you don't say Karshnayasa Pindena, it is not said. What is said? Nakhanikrintanena. Karya is taken to test, to see that there is a kind of a growth here. So not only because of the karya is ananyat from the karana, the karya is non-separate from the karana. So when you know the cause, you know the effect, but also the other way is there. When you know the effect, you can trace it back to the cause. To show that, and to show that there is a growth in the example, there is a vriddhi in the example. Now, what do we see? We see the karya first. So, ekena nakhanikrintanena. Cool fact, even in the Vedic age they had nail cutters. Very cool fact. So, somehow they had also to cut nails, if they were not to grow them out like Shurpanakha. Okay? Yeah. So they also had to cut and trim the nails, and that artifact with which they did that was called nail cutter. Literally that. Krintanam, cutting. Nakha, nail. Nakha nikrantana, nail cutter. Literally that. And so, from one nail cutter, what can you understand? What is it made of? It's made of black iron, and then you know the whole world of black iron. You know the whole world of black iron. And that means what? Here too, the words Krishnayasa, Karshnayasa, Nakhanikrantana are all what? Vacharambhanam, Vikaro Namadheyam. Even though one is cause and one is effect, in the relative examples, what do you see? Then the cause called what is that called? Iron becomes effect in another context. So the whole thing is a series of unending cause and effect. A cause that becomes an effect seen from another standpoint. and then that effect has another cause, and then that another cause seen from another angle becomes the effect. Same thing we say with the shirt. Shirt is there, shirt has cause. What is the cause of shirt? Fabric. Fabric is cause only in relation to the shirt. Fabric is effect with regard to the yarn. Yarn is cause in relation to fabric. Yarn is effect in relation to what? Cotton. Cotton is cause in relation to yarn. Cotton is effect in relation to cotton bush, cotton pod. Cotton bush is cause in relation to cotton yarn, and then cotton bush is effect with regard to the cotton seed. Here is where we have to stop. Otherwise, we'll go in infinite regret. Tree seed, tree seed, tree seed, tree seed. We'll be here forever. So, everything, that which I thought was the cause, ends up in being effect. That means what? That means we have to ask the question, will the real cause please stand up? So he gives 3 examples, very nice examples, 2 from the world of metals, 1 from the world of earth, clay, and then he says, evameva saha adeshaha bhavati. Adeshaha means what? The teaching. What was the teaching here? What was the teaching earlier? Yena, let's not forget, ashrutam, shrutam bhavati, amatam, matam, avijñātam, vijñātam. That was what the adesha was. And then making that adesha a little more elaborate, unfolding that adesha, what is talked about here? What is talked about here is just these 3 examples of how every word in this universe, every meaning in this universe constitutes a name and form, the substantive of which is not, is non-separate from that name and form, is not separate. And so, it cannot be separated from the substantive. Just like you cannot separate clay from the pot. Clay is what gives the satta to the pot. So then he stops here, and then the Bhashya says something which is very interesting, and he says that vijñātam kashnāyasa vikarajatam. Vikara here is modification. The modification of all the other modifications of black iron, such as horseshoe, the thing that they put for the horses to be able to run fast on uneven surfaces. Horseshoe, the bit that they put in the mouth of the horse. And that ring they put in the nose of the cattle, bullock, etc. All these are made of same black iron, the substantive. So, kashnāyasa vikarajatam vijñānam syat. And then he says the rest is samanyam etat. And then aneka drishtanta upadanam darshtantika aneka bheda anugamartham dridha pratityartham cha. Words of gold, really. Because we could, without the help of this bhashya, we would just see, oh, cool, very nice examples. Some people will say, I hate clay. I'm glad there is a gold example. I love gold. I hate clay. Somebody else will say, I'm allergic to gold. But yeah, iron is okay. Somebody will say, iron, that is terrible, always rusting. I want this, I don't want that. Adi Shankara points out, this is not this is not based on your ragadveshas. This is not to pump up your ragadveshas so that you will relate to the examples. That's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this is for, first of all, dridha pratiti, unshakable comprehension. Pratiti here is comprehension, understanding. so that one has an unshakable understanding. Otherwise, the understanding will be kind of iffy. Pot, clay, okay. Pot, clay, I understood, but in another context, I'm not able to extrapolate that example and look at the darshtanta. One fails to from the drishtanta to graduate to the darshtanta, one fails. Perhaps because one lacks imagination, or perhaps because the hold of ajnanam, anyatha jnanam is so, so pervasive that one fails to launch to the next level. So for the sake of dridha pratiti, for the sake of certain understanding, many examples are given. This is what we saw in the Shadlinga, one example of abhyasa. Abhyasa, repetition for the sake of clear comprehension, dridha pratiti, certain comprehension, unshakable comprehension. And the other reason he gives is that darshtantika aneka bheda anugamartham. Anugamartham means for the sake of understanding what? Aneka bheda anugamartham. That there are very conscious differences in these chosen examples. To comprehend that, many examples are given. Because some people are literalists. Okay? So if you say pot is nothing but clay, they will just go like this. What? They will get into the Vivekananda Swami pose without being Swami Vivekananda. They will get into that pose and they will have their opinion. Because they are literalists, they take everything literally. What will they say? Pot is nothing but clay. How can you say some water was used to knead? So water is part of this. You haven't talked about water. You have only talked about clay. And then after then you need what is that called? Potter's wheel. Potter's wheel you need, upon which the clay is thrown. You didn't do that. And then in the olden time, now you just put everything you put one switch on, that's all. Yeah, it's all automated. Before, the potter had to, with a stick, they had to rotate the wheel, and while it was rotating in the momentum, they had to quickly craft the thing, and then they had to set aside and then use the stick to rotate it again. So the stick of the potter, you haven't talked about, and that is also left out. You can't say pot is nothing but clay because what happened to the wheel, what happened to this, what happened to that, and then also after making the pot, you can't drink water out of it. You will be drinking clay, okay? Some people argue it is very good for health. Subsoil you should have in the food, etc. Namah Shivaya, okay? Yeah. That's... I don't think we need to have subsoil for breakfast. Some people take it very, very seriously. I don't want to go off on a tangent. You can ask for that. What happens to the people who take it seriously another time, okay? Yeah. So then you can't drink water out of the freshly made pot. Why? You'll be drinking clay. You won't be drinking water. So therefore, one more change. It has to be put in the kiln. It has to be dried, it has to be put in the kiln and baked for so many degrees. And then only it becomes worthy of use. So there will always be people who say, the pot has undergone a change. It's no longer just clay. And it's nice for the sake of just saying, oh, it has come out of clay, sustained by clay, and goes back to what? Clay. It doesn't go back to clay. It's all hard, brittle shards. And not even biodegradable. Why? Because even from the Indus Valley civilization we have pottery till now intact, hundreds and hundreds of years old. We have pottery. That's how we know they worshipped Shiva. We have that insignia, the Nandi is there. We have shards of pottery still remaining. It hasn't gone back to clay. People will argue. Therefore, the gold example. The shine of the gold, the shine of the ornament is exactly the shine of the gold. And then the gold is malleable, the ornament is malleable, gold has shine, ornament has shine, and so there is less of a change here. There is less of a change. And then the third example is given because you see, the second example is just for alankara. Because ornaments really have not much use. People go and they say, oh, I want ornaments. In this country, what is that? Anything is considered gold, Even 1 carat, they will say gold. 10 carats, gold. 12 carats, gold. 14 carat, gold. 18 carat, gold. For the Indian woman, nothing less than 22. If she could have 24, she would have that. But you can't because you have to, the gold is too soft. You have to add a few other things. And so that is the only thing that is gold. 22 carats. And so that comes very close to gold. And there is not much difference between that and lohamani. And then you can see all these ornaments, what for are they? To keep in the safety deposit locker. That is the use of the ornament. If you keep it at home, what will happen? Chora bhaya, yeah. There is a fear of thieves coming and taking it. And some people go to a different extent. So what they will do, they will first make the real gold ornament and then they will make another fake ornament that looks just like that. The real one they will keep in the locker, the fake one they will wear. Why make the real one? Just wear the fake one, no. Crazy this is. We are totally bonkers. But the whole point of this discussion is not to have a discussion on safety deposit lockers and this thing, but to show that the ornament is not of much use other than to have an ego trip. My Keyura is better than your Keyura. That's the only kind of a trip there is. It is not of much use. So here, in the third example, we have something that has the utility value. You see? Nakhanikrintanam. Who can do without a nail cutter? Nobody. It is universal and timeless. In the Vedic age, nail cutter, yes. In the medieval age, nail cutter, yes. In the modern age, nail cutter, yes. Contemporary age, nail cutter, yes. Even if there is some futuristic age and some extraterrestrials, let us say we make contact with, and if they have nails, they will also need what? Nail cutter. The third example is from the utilitarian aspect of what? The vikara jata, the host of various vikaras. So therefore, the Jagat has things that are useful, the Jagat has things that are ornamental, the Jagat has things that have undergone certain change to become effect, and then they are cause in relation to certain things, they are effect in relation to certain things. So this anekatmakam Jagat, this Jagat of many names, many forms, many words, many meanings, all of this is what? Is just summarized in these three various examples to show various different things. So then, Shvetaketu has had a little bit of a breather First he was stunned. Yeah. First he was stunned. He was like, OMG, his jaw drops to the floor. Is there such a knowledge? He says. Katham etad adesho bhavati. How come there is this kind of a knowledge? Please explain, how is there knowledge? Now his pride, which got a little bit of a slap from the daddy turned guru, has had the ahankara, like a boxer that has, collapsed on the floor. Round one goes to the opponent, slowly gets up, dusts himself off, and then calls all the people who spray water on him. Fuss, 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 fuss. Yeah. Give him some drink. And then he bathes himself with that drink, little bit. And he's ready for round two. So the ahankara here is ready for round two. So the father thinks, oh good, there is a coffee break now, because I have explained so nicely using all these three examples. I have told everything is vakalambanam. This must be very clear. Okay, good. Let's have a ancient coffee break. No such luck. Why? Ahankara comes out. And what does he say? Navai nunam bhagavantaha te etad avedishuhu yat avedishyan katham me na avakshan iti. Yeah, so he has time to recover. And what does he say? So he says, Navai nunam bhagavantaha te etad viduhu. They did not know. They etad avedishuhu. They did not know this. Who is they? Bhagavantaha, teachers. Pujavantaha, guravaha. They did not know this. These worshipful gurus of mine who were full-time faculty at the Gurukula, they were all there. And they were all what? Tenured faculty at the Gurukula. They did not know. They must not have known. Because why? I was the Gudaman. I was the best. I had a perfect GPA. I had nothing. I was the best of all of them. Anuchana wise, Anuchana means repeating the Vedas. Anuchana wise, A++. And Tarka wise, A++. And all the darshanas, A++. I could write a thesis on each and every one of them. I carried the whole Veda here. I know everything. And they also knew I was the best, east or west. And if they had known, they should have surely picked me to teach, not the other riffraff that was around. All the other people were just what? Just, frills. That's what. I was the substantive. They were just adjectival to me. And if anybody was worth teaching, it was me. So therefore he uses the anumana pramana and he comes to a conclusion. He infers. What does he infer? What does he infer? They must not have known. Etad what? Adeshaha etad na avedishuhu. Why? Yadhi etad avedishyan. If they knew this, yad means yadi. Yadi ha etad avedishyan katham na me avakshan. Why did they not teach me? If they had known, they would have taught me. They did not teach me, therefore, what? They did not know. Here there are a couple of problems. First is the assumption itself is problematic, and secondly, there is a custom. And what is the custom? The guru, any kind of guru, must not be put down. Guru must not be put down. No matter how reprehensible the guru might have been, the guru must not be put down. Why? Because it shows a kind of an ingratitude. One becomes an ingrate in putting down the Guru, because what makes one great is the Guru. And if you are putting down the Guru, what are you doing? Putting down yourself as unworthy of the teachings. So you're putting down the Guru, especially a Guru, any kind, even the Guru that deserves leave. There's no such scenario is there, but even suppose there is a Guru who, quote unquote, deserves to be put down, you don't put down the Guru. That is the custom. Even today it is there. We don't put down the Guru. Why? Because it's not just a custom. There is so much devotion to the knowledge that the deliverer, the transmitter of this knowledge is non-separate from the knowledge, is included in the knowledge. This is not only for Paravidya, for Aparavidya also. You don't put down the teacher. Because the blessing, there is a kind of an invisible blessing that comes from the lineage of gurus, that the blessing that comes from one's own teacher, it flows to the student. And when I put down the Guru, what happens? That flow is inhibited, interrupted, distorted, garbled. And then that has its effect in how one practices that art, one practices what one has learned from the teachers. So the Guru must never be put down. Here, in the safety of the father, in the safety of the father's company, father turned teacher, no doubt. What is Shvetaketu doing? Putting down the teachers. Not just one teacher, Bhagavantaha, many teachers. All the teachers in the Gurukula, whoever, nobody must have known. He's calling the Gurus themselves ignorant. In so doing, what is he calling himself? Ignorant. That is the second problem. First problem, don't put down the Guru. Second problem, you are putting yourself down here in the process. And when you put yourself down, you don't become a qualified student of Vedanta. This is iterated everywhere, exemplified everywhere. For example, in the Kathopanishad, on being told by the father in anger, because he keeps saying, who are you giving me to? He sees all the things, now he means who? Nachiketa. Sees all the things being given to various people as dhanam. Must have slept in the middle when all the good cows were given away. Suddenly woke up, saw all these cows who are described as what? Dugdha dohaha. The cows that have given their last drop of milk allotted to them by Bhagavan. Jagdhatrinaha. Those who have eaten the last blade of grass allotted by Bhagavan. Means what? Toothless cows. They will just, go chap on the pasture. Only little wheat grass juice comes out, and with that they live. That's all it is. They have a little smoothie in the morning. They can't really chew. No teeth. Toothless cows. Nirindriyaha. Unable to reproduce. Too old to have babies. And then, so these are the kinds of cows that are being given. And then pitodakaha, the fourth kind is, they have drunk the last drop of water given to them by Bhagavan. Unable to eat, unable to drink, unable to reproduce. These are the kinds of cows that he sees being given as dana. And he says, I am smart, I am small, I can do things. I can be of some use. Because these kinds of cows, if you give, my father will not get Swargaloka. Brahmaloka praptihi na bhavet. Therefore, I want to give of myself. Children are not property. What is to be given in this yajna is one's property. Children, women and children were never property, even in ancient India. That's why there was so much outrage when Draupadi was pawned off in that game. That's why she was so outraged. Everybody, there was so much outrage. So therefore, this boy is too small to understand. Kasmai mam dasyasi, tata, kasmai mam dasyasi. One time it was cute. Second time it was all right, bearable. Third time totally uncute because the father was busy with all the rituals. He says, I give you to death, go to hell. In other words, go to hell, go to death. And the child ruminates. Bahunamemi prathamaha, bahunamemi madhyamaha, he says. Among many people, I stand out as the first. Among many others, he concedes, I might come second. But never does he say, I will come last. This is very important. So, and then even in the Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, we are told, Uddharet Atmana Atmanam. Na Atmanam Avasadayet. Don't put yourself down. Because if you put yourself down, one becomes one's own greatest enemy. And so therefore here, there are two problems with the speech hastily said, the ahankara trying to cover up for various deficiencies, real and perceived deficiencies. The ahankara is quickly trying to make excuses, and it's always the pointing finger. This is called tarjani, the accusing finger, the scolding finger, points to the gurus and scolds them, even though the poor fellows are not there to defend themselves. And all the gurus are told as what? They must not have known, therefore they did not teach me, and I am the one who was the best, and they must not have known. And then Adi Shankara says, Navai nunam bhagavantaha, who are they? Pujavantaha guravaha. And mama ye etad yad bhavad uktam, whatever was told by you, vastu na avedishuhu, na vijñātavantaha. They did not know this. Nunam, most certainly they did not know this, because nunam is not part of the bhashya, it is part of the moolam. Nunam means I am certain they did not know this. Yadhi means yadi, avedishyan, viditavantaha. If they knew this, then what would they have done? Etad vastu, if they had known this vastu, katham me, how come they did not? Gunavate, who was I? Full of qualities, highly qualified me, katham me gunavate, unto the highly qualified me, bhaktaya, and then anugataya. I was always behind these gurus. I was always going behind the gurus. I was a great follower. So I was anugataha all the time. I was shadowing the gurus all the time, trying to learn and imbibe everything from them. Not one day they said, ye na shrutam shrutam bhavati, ye na matam matam bhavati. They did not say that even one day. And I was a bhakta. I was devoted to them. I had shraddha, and still they did not teach me anything. And then so therefore what? So bhaktaya anugataya na avaksyan na uktavantaha. Tena aham manye. From this I understand. What do I understand? Na viditavantaha iti. Na viditavantaha iti. They must not have known. And here Adi Shankara intervenes and says, avachyamapi guroho nyadbhavam avadit. Punaha gurukulam prati preshana bhayat. So he has done a big problem here. He has done a big no. A taboo has been broken. What was the taboo? Don't put the teachers down. Nyagbhava means looking lowly at the teachers. Avachyamapi, even in at the level of thought, if the thought comes, the guru must have been an ignoramus to stop that thought right there. Keep always a handful of full stops and put one full stop in the middle of the sentence itself. No, but the sentence has not ended, doesn't matter. Put it right in the middle, get off that thought. That is the idea. But he doesn't do that. The thought turns into full-fledged thought and then translates into speech also. But we know that he was a very well qualified student. So why did he go to the extent of putting down the gurus, Adi Shankara, making peace with Shvetaketu on the one hand and the gurus in the Gurukula on the other hand? Says he was a little scared that the father would say, you have failed, go back to the Gurukula, become a student again, get your identity badge, wear it around your neck, attend all the classes, and then get this knowledge. Don't come back until you get this knowledge. So, Gurukula punaha preshana bhayat, on account of the fear of being sent back to the Gurukula. What does he say? They must not have known. Don't send me there, no use, because if I go there I will not learn because they don't know. Very clever. So in other words, he didn't mean to put down the gurus. He was mortally afraid of having to repeat the 12 years again, and then because he didn't ask for this important knowledge. So therefore he quickly says what? Don't worry about the gurus, they must not have known. Therefore what? Bhagavan tu, whereas Bhagavan tu eva me tad bravitu iti. Please, you only teach me this. Because if you are asking this question, that means what? You definitely know. And I have already asked you another question. I told you, you please teach me. And so you alone can teach me this. Don't send me back there because they might not know. You teach me here. You see, this is what is that? Brahmachari cheshta, a little mischief. So we can see how intelligent and mischievous Shvetaketu was. Very mischievous. And then the teaching starts. And then because Pita ha uvacha tatha iti. Tatha iti. Tad bravitu iti. And then tatha somya iti ha uvacha. Ha means a long time ago. Indeed, a long time ago, this was what was said. Ha uvacha Pita. And then after agreeing to teach, what did Uddalaka say? Sadeva somya idam agre asit ekameva advitiyam. Yeah. So, idam agre. Idam means what? Jagat. Idam is always stand-in for Jagat. Idam, right here. Prakrishtam, right here. What is available is that which is objectifiable. That which is available is that which is objectifiable, and that is actually known as this. Idam. Purnam adaha, Purnam idam. Idam means that which has the status of effect, a so-called effect in relation to its cause, which is Sat, which is going to be revealed as Sat. So idam means anything that is immediately available. Available to what? Available to the means of knowledge which I operate. Available to the pramanas that are playing on the tips of my fingers. What are they? 5 in number. Pratyaksha, which is direct perception of all kinds, five kinds of direct perception. Pratyaksha, and what else is there? Anumana. Anumana means one-step inference. If you look out the window, the roads are wet, what do you infer? Yeah. They are also based on Pratyaksha only. Pratyaksha, therefore, is the first one upon which all the other pramanas are based. And then, what else is the next one? Arthapattihi. Anyatha anupapattau. It is not possible for any other way. Arthapattihi, multi-step inference. The mother and father of every young adult knows this. The young adult comes home long after curfew. Where were you? Oh, I was studying in so-and-so's house. You were not. I called there. Oh, maybe when you called, I had just stepped out for some ice cream with so-and-so. I called so-and-so and his mother also. You were not there either. Oh, I just stepped out to go to the mall. With who? And then one more lie comes out. With such and such. I called such and such also. You were not there. So that means you were somewhere where you should not have been, and you were doing something you should not have been doing. This is the Arthapatti. Arthapatti, every parent knows. Yeah, every parent is an expert in this pramana. Okay? And so this is Arthapatti, multi-step inference. And so the deduction of where the young adult was comes after many, many steps, calling many, many friends and many, many parents of many, many friends. Then you come to the conclusion that this person was not, were not supposed to be there, and they were there. Arthapatti. What else is there? Before that? Upama, not upma. That is what you have for breakfast, okay? Yeah, upama. Upama here is one thing is compared to which is a known factor compared to what? Something that is unknown. So when you meet or greet something unknown, then you know because you have some basis for that similarity, comparison. Then finally we have anupalabdhi, the cognition of a particular object in a particular, cognition of absence of a particular object in a particular place. So it's a relative cognition of an object. It's not absolute cognition of absence because there is no absolute absence. There is no such thing as absolute absence, because if you say absence is the truth of this universe, who is saying that? Me the great. Are you present or not? Okay, keep quiet then. Nothing more to be said. So therefore, anupalabdhi is a unique pramana, the cognition of absence, which has to always answer two questions. What is absent and where from it is absent? Karatale ghataha nasti. The pot is absent from the palm of my hand. That is anupalabdhi. So, all these pramanas are dancing on the fingers and for cognizing everything referred to by the word, the code word in every Upanishad, idam. Compared to adas. Adas means that. Idam means this, easily cognizable, easily recognizable, easily understood, objectified. Others, remote. Same thing with saha here, and then saha atma, right here, I, whereas tad brahma, that. So this, the words this and that have an abiding presence in all the Upanishads. And then when what we refer to by the word idam is always the code word for Jagat. Everything in the Jagat can be categorized, can be objectified, you can learn about it, you can research it, it is all there. You can objectify it with all your sense organs, with all the means of knowledge available to oneself. So, sadeva somya idam asit. Idam jagat, the jagat, the word is missing, but really idam is a stand-in for the jagat. Idam jagat agre. Agre means what? Before. Before means what? Before I had my lunch? No. Before means Srishtehe Prak. Before this manifestation of the Jagat, before the Abhivyakti of the Jagat, what was this? Sat. Let us call it Sat. Astita matram, Adi Shankara will say. Existence. Sat means existence. So before this Jagat, what happened to it? Before it manifested, before it had this Vyakaranam here doesn't mean grammar here. It means diversification. Before it diversified, it was still there. Idam Sat Agre Asit. Idam Jagat Agre Asit. How? It was called Sat. Unmanifest and non-objectifiable. Both of this we have to see. It was both unmanifest and non-objectifiable. When is something what is the only thing that cannot be objectified? I. Atma. Everything else can be objectified, can be known through a means of knowledge. Atma cannot be known through a means of knowledge. Oh, how sad. Let's not forget, Atma need not be known through a means of knowledge. Why? Self-evident. Self-evident I. Do you exist? Are you here? Yes. You don't say, let me find out and get back to you. Pooch ke batayenge, Pujya Swamiji used to say. I'll ask and let you know. There's nothing to ask. You know. Even the most timid person who takes permission for everything immediately will say, yes, I'm here, I exist. You are the proof of your own existence. It's a self-proven existence. So therefore, there is no pramana vyapara involved. There is no pramana transaction needed. You cannot be objectified, and you need not be objectified because you are self-evident Sat. Anything in the universe comes to be known through two ways. One is pramana siddha. Pramana siddhatvat, I come to know. Pramana siddha means it is justified, it is accomplished through sight. It's objectified through sight, through hearing, like sound, shape, form, through the eyes, etc. So it should be either pramana siddha, so that I can come to know, or it should be what? Swatas siddha. Only one thing and one thing alone, namely you, are swatas siddha. Everything else is pramana siddha. That which is pramana siddha is you, and that you is known as Sat. Everything that is, the other way around. That which is swatas siddha is you, and known as Sat. That which is pramana siddha is this entire Jagat. You see, there is no connection. You and the Jagat do not belong to the same order of reality. Cannot. They are not at all. It's like oneself and the shadow. The shadow is there, but you are the one casting the shadow. The shadow is an entity entirely dependent upon you. Completely. Shadow just comes along, follows you, and if it falls in the water because you took a riverside walk, you don't need a towel to dry off the shadow. It's a non-entity, as it were. It is conditional. Sometimes the shadow is there, sometimes the shadow is not there, sometimes the shadow is long and big and scary, sometimes it is small and diminutive. It is changing. In relation to the light, it is changing. Similarly, the Jagat, is a shadowy entity compared to you, who is all light, who is self-existent. The Jagat is what? Not self-existent. The Jagat enjoys an iffy existence based on you. It has to depend on you for its existence. How? Vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam. Because the whole Jagat is a series of words and meanings. You alone are that Sat, from which this Jagat has come, by which this Jagat is sustained, unto which this Jagat, as though, we have to add as though everywhere, as though come, as though sustained, as though returns. So then he says, where is that? Yeah. Sadeva somya idam agre asit ekameva advitiyam. Tadha eke ahuhu asadeva idam agre asit ekameva advitiyam. Tasmad asatah sajjayata. Yeah. And Uddalaka gets into a philosophical discussion and concedes that some people, who are they? Bauddhaha, Naiyayikaha, etc., who are what? Veda Bahyaha. Certain darshanas are inside the Vedas itself, meaning they accept the Veda as a pramana, but then certain other darshanas, they don't take the Veda as a pramana, as a means of knowledge, so they are Veda Bahyaha. They do not accept the scriptural authority of the Veda as a revelatory authority, and so they are what? Veda Bahyaha. Bauddhas, Naiyayikas, Vaisheshikas, etc. And so some people, he concedes, they argue. Ahuhu means here they say, they argue. Eke means some ones, some people, a few argue. What do they say? Asadeva idam agre asit. This Jagat came out of nothing. Asad means what? Non-existence. This Jagat has come out of non-existence, and it is one and non-dual also. If it is non-existent, does it matter if it's non-dual or dual? If one thing is non-existent or two things are non-existent, does it matter? No matter at all. Foolish thinking, that's why. So, eke ahuhu, some say, a few say, what do they say? They say that idam jagat, idam ahuhu, idam agre asadeva asit. So this Jagat was what? Asat, non-existent. This Jagat was not existence personified, it was non-existence, and it was non-dually non-existent. And out of this non-dually non-existence came this Jagat. And so this is confusing, because this you don't even know, you feel like blinking when you even read this, okay? You are like, what? Did I hear this correctly? Can I have another take? Even if you read it, 100 times, this is what it says. So, and then Bhashya, thankfully, comes to the rescue. So, Adi Shankara, from the beginning, he takes it, he says, Sadeva, Sad iti, Astita matram vastu. Astita matram vastu. Vastu means entity, a thing. The only thing worth being called a thing. The whole Jagat is full of what? Nothing, no thing. So, the only thing worth being called a thing is called Vastu. And that Vastu, Atma Vastu, Sad Vastu, that alone was there. What is it? Astita Matram. Just pure existence, unqualified by name, unconditioned by form. An existence that had no name, no form, no differentiation. And therefore it was what? Sukshmam, subtle, meaning cannot be objectified. Nirvishesham. Nirvishesham means without any, what is that? Adjectives. Free of adjectives. Nirvishesham. No specifications. Nirvishesham, free of adjectives. And what else? Sarvagatam. Because then where should I look for this vastu? It has no vishesha. And then it is astita matra. Where is this astita? Where is this existence located? Can you please tell me? So Adi Shankara quickly has to deny the location for this existence by saying it is everywhere. Sarvagatam. Sarvavyapi. Sarvagatam. And then how many was there? How many sats were there? Ekam. Ekam. Niranjanam. Niranjanam means asangam, unconnected to anything else. Ekam. Only one, unconnected to anything else. This is all the way he explains the word sat. Very beautiful. Niravayam. Niravayavam. Avayava means what? Limbs. Parts. This sat has no parts, no adjectives, nothing to speak of, no location. It is everywhere. And all that is there is it alone. And what is it? Existence personified. That's all it is. Existence incarnate. And Niravayavam and also Niranjanam. Niranjanam means that which does not take on the dharma of anything connected to it, even remotely. Just like the crystal, if you put yellow cloth on it, does not become yellow. After you remove the yellow cloth, you don't have to wash the crystal in soap and water to remove the yellow. Because the yellow on the crystal is an as though perception, it is not really there. So like the crystal, the Sat is crystal clear and free of whatever attributes the various names and forms have. It is free of all those attributes, yet without its presence, those attributes cannot exist. It is the existence of all attributes and the existence of all the source of all attributes and the existence of the attributes depend on Sat because they are mithya. Now we can see what is mithya. Dependent existence, not false and not illusion, delusion, all of that we can take away from the vocabulary. So, Niranjanam. And then what else? Vijnanam. Vijnanam means it is just nothing but knowledge. Meaning what? This Sat is a conscious entity. All knowledge can rest only in a conscious entity. So all knowledge means what? Limitless knowledge. Vijnana Ghanam. Elsewhere it is Prajnana Ghanam. Mandukya Upanishad, Prajnana Ghanam. Vijnana Ghanam. And here it is Vijnanam Eva. And what is that? That Vijnanam. And then Yat Avagamyate. That which is understood. How is it understood? Sarva Vedantebhyaha. By the study of all Shastra, that which is understood is this alone. What a beautiful description he has given of Sat. We cannot be fooled at all anymore. This Sat is, this isness, if we can make it into an abstract noun for the sake of even more clarity, isness. So this isness is there, and this isness is all knowledge, cannot be divorced from all knowledge. This all-knowing being, Sat. This knowingness and beingness are one and the same. You cannot separate the knowingness from the beingness. This knowing being is called Sat. And this knowing being is astita matram, is just in the form of sheer existence, unconditioned by yet names, forms, shapes, etc. No qualifications. And what is that? Where is it? Don't ask where is it. Where is it not? Ask that. Where is it not? Because anything that is there, everything is outsourced existence. Outsourced existence, it is not existence belonging to it. Anything that you say exists borrows its existence from Sat. Everything that is that is objectifiable, only one part of it is objectifiable in everything. What is objectifiable? Name and form, word and meaning. Sat is not objectifiable because that Sat is non-separate from you. That Sat is non-separate from anything. So everything shines in borrowed Sat, borrowed Chit, borrowed Ananda. Like the crow going into the peacock convention. Yeah, everybody knows that story. Yeah. The crow says, I also want to dance. It's so annual peacock convention. Oh, I also want to go. What's why? I'll also go. Tried to go in. There was a bouncer peacock. Hey, don't you see this sign? What does it say? Only peacocks allowed. Stupid. You can't come here. Leave. Dejected, the crow goes, walks around the perimeter, sees all the peacocks having a wonderful time. Oh, they are dancing. Wonderful. Fan of feathers, iridescent colors. But crows are very clever, you know. And as the peacocks forget themselves and dance, these things, feathers fall off. The crow gets an idea. A light bulb emoji comes on the side of the head and then picks 3 feathers and puts and very confidently presents itself at the gate. Crow was having good karma that day because the bouncer had just attended a diversity training. Peacocks come in all shapes and sizes. Don't body shame the peacocks. Let them have a good time. So it looks very doubtfully at this strange being, but says, okay, go. Doesn't matter, go. The crow has a good time for a little bit of time. And then what happens? The predictable happens. Yeah. Sat feather falls off. Chit feather falls off. Ananda feather falls off. And the crow is pecked out of the convention as an imposter. That's what it is. Without this satta matram, this astita matram, without this astita, nothing has being. Nothing has being. That is the beingness from which everything called being, everything called thing draws its being, itself inexhaustible. Why? That's the word. The word Ananda knocks off the limitations connected to Sat, connected to existence. Because the existence that we know is a finite existence. Here, the limitations are knocked off. And all knowledge. So the jadatvam means what? The inertness is knocked off. How? We'll see in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.